Students, now we're going to start with our chapter number 10, that is financial market. Now, financial market is a market where there is an exchange of financial assets. Now, what all comes under the financial assets? Now, shares, debentures, bonds, these all comes under the category of financial assets and securities. So, financial market is a platform where we exchange and create financial assets. It helps in mobilization of savings and channelizing them into the most productive uses. Now, as you can see that household are the savers. Okay, they just keep savings with them and they just deposit in banks and financial market. From there, the investors takes the money and they invest into the productive uses. This is how it is known as mobilization of savings and channelizing them into the most productive uses. Now, financial market is of two kinds, that is capital market and money market. Now we're going to see the functions of financial market. Now functions of financial market, the very first one, it helps in mobilization of savings and channelizing them into the most productive uses. Okay, so with the help of financial market we can easily just create the financial securities and we are just taking the savings and just mobilizing them into the most productive uses. Coming to the second one, helpful in price discovery. Now financial market or stock market also helps in discovering the prices of securities with the help of इंटरैक्शन ऑफ मार्केट फोर्सेस ऑफ डिमांड एंड सप्लाई. शेयर का कितना डिमांड है, शेयर की कितनी सप्लाई है, उसके बेसिस पे प्राइसेस तय करने में भी फाइनेंशियल मार्केट अपन को मदद करता है. थर्ड वन, provides liquidity to the financial assets. Had it been if financial markets are not there, then the shares, debentures could not be sold or purchased. So this provides liquidity to that of the financial assets. Financial assets are being liquid, it is all because of that of financial market. Coming to the fourth one, that is reducing the cost of transaction. Now, every time financial market gives you an up-to-date information regarding the share market prices, regarding the Sensex, regarding the index, thus reducing the time and efforts of that of investors and buyers and sellers of security. Thus, it also helps in reducing the cost of transaction. Now, as we have seen that financial market is of two kinds, capital market and money market, we are going to understand capital market. Now, a market where long-term securities are being dealt out, such as equity shares, preference shares, debentures, bonds, this is known as your capital market. Financial market comprises of developmental banks, commercial banks, stock exchange. So, who all are the players of capital market? These are the developmental banks, commercial banks and stock exchange. Capital market is again reclassified into two parts, that is primary market and secondary market. Now, features of capital market. We are going to do the characteristics of capital market. Mind it, capital market is that market in which we are dealing in that of long-term securities. So, a business sector, a place from which the business sector satisfies long-term financial needs is known as capital market. It generally deals in those securities whose maturity period is more than 1 year. Now, usually when we are raising the finance with the help of equity shares or debentures, we are raising it for a period of more than 5 years or 5 years at that time. So, capital market is dealing in those securities in which the maturity period is more than 1 year. Okay. Now, the value of securities is generally very low. When we are seeing the value of one share, one debenture, it will be hardly rupees 100, rupees 10. So, the denomination of the securities in case of capital market is very low. Capital market yields higher rate of return. No doubt, capital market gives a higher rate of return to that of the investors because here the amount is being remain invested into a market for a period of more than 1 year. So, more longer the time period, more will be the interest. Now, capital market is of two kinds, primary market and secondary market. So, up till now we have learned that financial market is of two kinds, capital market and money market. Then we have done that is again capital market is of two kinds, primary market and secondary market. Coming to the next topic, that is primary market. That is, it is also known as the new issue market. Now, the market where the securities are issued for the first time, it is known as primary market. Primary market, in primary market, whenever we require the funds for establishing a new business, for expansion, diversification, for modernizing our existing business, we require capital, and such kind of capital is being raised with the help of a market which is known as primary market. Who all are the investors in this market? Bank, financial institutions, insurance companies are the players of this kind of market. Now, how the securities are being raised in primary market? First one is offer through prospectus. Now, offer through prospectus means whenever we are just circulating a prospectus, which is an invitation to a general public to come and subscribe for the shares of the company, this is known as offer through prospectus. When we are raising the finance by issuing the prospectus, prospectus can be defined as a notice, circular, or we can say notice, circular, advertisement or information to that of the general public to please come and subscribe the shares of the company. Next one, offer for sale. Under this, the whole lot of shares is being given to that of the intermediaries like stockbrokers, who will in turn sell the shares on behalf of that of the public. Here the company is not directly dealing with that of general public. What is doing is the whole lot of shares is being handed over to that of the intermediaries like brokers, and then these brokers are selling the shares on behalf of that of the company. Coming to that of the next one, that is private placement. Now, whenever we are giving a whole lot of securities to that of the selected institutional investors or selected individuals, rather than just going to each and every public people to just subscribe for the shares, that is known as private placement. Okay, just we are just giving to that of the selected institutions, say LIC, say GIC, General Insurance, or UTI, Unit Trust of India, that is known as your private placement. हम एक एक जनरल पब्लिक को पकड़ के अपने शेयर्स बेचने की जगह कुछ ग्रुप को या पूरे सेलेक्टेड कंपनी या इंडिविजुअल को जो पैसा दे देते हैं, शेयर्स दे देते हैं, तो दैट इज़ नोन एज योर प्राइवेट प्लेसमेंट. नेक्स्ट वन, राइट इशू. Whenever we are offering the new shares to our existing shareholders in proportion to their existing shareholding, that is known as right issue. जब हम नए शेयर्स अपने पुराने शेयर होल्डर्स को उनकी पुरानी शेयर होल्डिंग के बेसिस पे और उनके रेशियो में पकड़ाते हैं, तो दैट इज़ नोन एज राइट इशू. फॉर एग्जांपल, किसी शेयर होल्डर के पास अगर 10 शेयर्स है, तो हमने उसको अभी नए शेयर्स 5 पकड़ा है, तो दैट विल बी 2:1. जिसके पास हमारे 2 शेयर्स है, उसको 1 शेयर मिलेगा. दैट इज़ नोन एज राइट इशू. कमिंग टू द नेक्स्ट वन, दैट इज़ EIPO, that is electronic initial public offering. Now, whenever we are using the electronic mechanism of stock exchange to issue securities for the first time, then it is known as initial public offering. प्राइमरी सिक्योरिटीज़ कौन सी होती है? प्राइमरी मार्केट के अंदर हम हमेशा नई सिक्योरिटीज़ को इशू कर रहे होते हैं. तो इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफरिंग के अंदर ये होता है, जब हम कंपनी की नई सिक्योरिटीज़ को स्टॉक एक्सचेंज के इलेक्ट्रॉनिक माध्यम से हम उसे बेचते हैं, तो उसे बोला जाता है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफरिंग. सो हियर वी हैव कंप्लीटेड विद दैट ऑफ द primary market and the methods of floating the securities in that of primary market. In the next video we are going to understand secondary market. Thank you.